Hello and welcome to the next video on my request list, which is from my Life Purpose series. This is where I talk about how the life path number and the birthday number work together to form why you're here, your life purpose. Now, if you're interested in learning about other variations of life path and birthday numbers other than the 33-6 with the birthday 6, then you can get my book here on Amazon. I'm going to put a link in the description box, but this shows you all the life path energies, all the lessons that are linked to each life path number, and of course the birthday number as well. Now the columns aren't linked at all, but you can see on each individual one that you can look at the individual lessons that it's related to. So that's on Amazon, and I'm going to put the link in the description box there. But right, so the next video on my request list then is the Life Path Master 33-6. Most important number in your chart. Very difficult lessons to learn when you're a master energy, but it's because you're an old soul. So if you're a master 33-6, you're going through lots of more difficult stuff literally because you're a master energy. Unfortunately, you know, if you're in grade 6, they're not going to give you grade 2 work. It's going to be harder lessons to learn, but it's very much about you learning to inspire, inform and entertain the world in order to bring nurture, to bring positive change, to raise the world's vibration. So it's a very big responsibility. It's a very big life path to come with. That's why it's only for old souls. It's only for those that have the wisdom and strength and resilience from all their previous lives to be able to deal with such a powerful master energy that is a 33-6. Very overwhelming energy, you know, very creative, but you know, unless you're dealing with that master energy daily, it can cause very much overwhelm, self-medication, and not getting your creativity out there because you're so overwhelmed. So there's just some of the difficulties that a 33-6 will go through, and that's the most important number in their chart to achieve. So if you are a struggling 33-6, we're going to look at some breakdowns and, you know, how you can sort of what you're here to do and the difficulties that you have, and understanding that you have those difficulties for a reason. It's your evolution at the end of the day. But it's a master 33-6, and you see the 6 is repeated twice there. So the energy of the 6 is important to be achieved, because it's not just your birthday number, it's also the energy of the 33-6. So it brings a bit of extra onus to not only the double 3, but the 6 as well. 2, the 3 and the 6, very creative numbers, very inspiring and nurturing and comforting kind of numbers. It's like communicating with the world in some way, artistically or verbally or in written form, in order to inspire, inform, delight, nurture, comfort and bring peace. And the 33-6 is about raising the world's vibration. So as a 33-6, you're here to develop, now we're dealing with the double 3 more here, balanced, passionate, positive, creative, emotional expression in order to teach, to counsel, to advise, to heal. The 33-6 is about being a master communicator in order to bring information and knowledge that brings healing, to bring creativity, to bring emotional lifts that are healing, whether they do it to teach, inform, motivate, inspire or entertain. The 33-6 uses their creative medium in order to bring a positive vibration to the world around them. And of course it is a world job. It's a world lesson. It's not something where you just inspire your next door neighbours. A 33-6 is here to inspire the world. Very overwhelming, yes, but you're an old soul and you have the wisdom and knowledge within and previous experience to make things happen, to make that happen. But you might be low in confidence. You might not think you're even creative. You may be struggling with creative ideas and struggling to get them achieved. You might be procrastinating, and maybe you're just not acting. Maybe there's too many ideas bombarding you and you don't know which one to act on. And it's causing you to procrastinate. Or maybe you're unsure of your creativity. You don't like the work you do, so you don't let people see it, and then you don't do it, and then nothing gets done. Prone to negative emotional expression, and what I mean is that you're quite a sponge for what others say, so you worry about opinions of others, and you can be quite negative towards others, and that low emotional state can sometimes block creativity. Well, always block creativity and block positive action. So that could be something that you as a 33-6 struggle with. Not necessarily, because we all deal with things in different ways. We all have different weaknesses within our purpose numbers, and it depends on our toolbox energy and our own personal previous experience, learning and wisdom. You're also here to develop the ability to handle and focus that intense master energy that bombards you daily. Remember, I said it's very powerful. It's like having a shower of water on your head choking you whilst you try and get on with what you need to get on with, or think straight, or get things done. You've got this shower on your head all the time, distracting you and overwhelming you. Well, that's like the 33, the shower of energy that can be very overwhelming for a 33-6 if they're not managing that energy. And it's being able to take all your ideas and all the things you need to get done for a day and everything that's hitting you and all these new ideas and thinking, which one am I going to focus on? And it's being able to be in calm and center yourself and deal with that master energy by centering yourself, thinking, writing things down, walking in nature, going running and deciding what you're going to do with your energy that day. And anytime you feel overwhelmed, coming back to that center so that you can refocus your energy. But if you're struggling, you're going to sometimes be dealing with energetic overwhelm, because if your energy that hits you daily is unmanaged, it will just flood you, overwhelm you, and stop you from acting, stop you from moving forward, cause you anxiety, nervous tension, not knowing which direction to take, so many ideas, where do I go, what do I do? So you do nothing, you shut down. This is what a lot of 33-6s go through. So it's about managing that master energy, breathing techniques, walking, writing things down. These are the ideas, but this is the one I'm going to do today. Breathe, center yourself. You may need to do that several times a day. It's just the energy that hits you as a master 33-6. You're here to express yourself. You're very much the speaker, the creative, the expressive, whether you do it with your full body as an actor or a singer or a performer or a musician, or whether you create things with your hands, or whether you use your words, whether you use a bit of everything to express yourself with a positive verbal expression to inform, to inspire, and to delight, and to creatively and artistically express whatever your artistic medium is. Music, art, acting, singing, anything that is a creative medium. It can be writing, it can be anything. And it's inspiring and informing and delighting the world with what you say and what you create. But of course, that's what you're here to do, and it's never going to be easy. You might struggle to communicate verbally. You might be shy, low in confidence. Some 3s and 33s start life quite mute. They might have speech impediments. They might stutter. There might even be some speech delay, inability to find the right words, vocabulary issues. Even language barriers can sometimes get in the way of communication for the 33-6 and the 3. Actually, the 3 energy is very much about struggling to express yourself, because that's what you're here to do. You know, you might feel uncreative, even though you're hugely creative. You wouldn't be a 33-6 if you weren't. You might feel uncreative. Hold yourself back. Set yourself unreachable benchmarks. Set yourself up for failure, or start something and be able to not be able to finish it because you don't like it, or you're worried about people's reactions. So between the low confidence and the not saying what you need to say, or not expressing the words you need to say, you may struggle to express yourself creatively as well, and end up in a situation where you're just not getting out there, you're not even communicating with people. So you're here to learn to express yourself with more verbal, passionate confidence, and being confident in your own skin, and creatively expressing yourself in whatever medium that you're passionate about, whatever medium that you're really drawn to, because you're going to struggle to get things done, because you're here to be a dynamic doer, calculated risk taker, an executor, a doer of ideas to an audience, to a group, to a social group, to whoever is around, to, you know, investors, whatever that may be. You're here to take action, which again, for all the reasons I've just told you about, you may struggle to take that action and end up in this overwhelmed, low confident, I can't do it kind of situation, when you're here to act in order to make things happen. And those feelings of overwhelm and shyness and low confidence and struggling to communicate or express yourself can make you lazy and apathetic, and what's the point? Fearful, unable to leave your comfort zone because you don't feel that you're good enough. And certainly performing or expressing yourself to others is totally out of the question. You're also here to be responsible. Act positively towards others and take full responsibility for your powerful actions. Now, the 3 energy, it's very fun, it's very laughter, it's very acting to, devil may care. So sometimes we can do something, and then think, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So the double 3 energy communicate healing and responsible, that will bring good things. So you want to work through any difficulties you've had with irresponsibility, feeling negative, being unable to take responsibility for the consequences of actions, that kind of thing. It happens to the best of us. So if that's happened to you, it's just about walking your path and learning your lessons. It's not something to beat yourself up for. You're also in the 6. Now, this is the birthday energy as well, so I'm going to be talking about this again. The visionary of the ideal is the 6 energy. They want everybody's life to be a utopia, and can get quite judgmental if that utopia that they have floating above their head is not achieved. And they do it to themselves, others, and the world at times. So you're a visionary. And it's good to have a vision of the ideal. Okay, a perceived utopia of where everybody can be comfortable and well cared for. But you've got to accept the world just as it is, because the world needs to have darkness as well as light. Otherwise, we wouldn't learn the lessons we're here to learn. So having a vision of the ideal is great, but you can't be disappointed or judgmental when your vision isn't quite achieved yet, because we're not perfect. So your vision of the ideal, you want to make the world a better place, but you have to not judge the world for not being a better place yet, because this is our learning. It's the people and the souls that are interacting that are making this world a mixture of the light and the dark, because they're all learning lessons by trial and error. And sometimes we don't always do good things to each other because it's part of our learning. So have that vision of the ideal, and that's great, because it's always good to work towards it. But don't be disappointed or judgmental, which you can be as a 33-6, if your ideals aren't achieved. Because if they were, everything would stop. If everything was perfect, nothing would change anymore. We wouldn't need to incarnate. We wouldn't need to learn lessons, because we're all perfect already. Remember, we're not perfect yet. We can work towards it, great, but we've got to walk the path of that. We've got to learn the lessons. We've got to trip up and fall. We've got to make those mistakes, and those mistakes are going to affect others. So the ideal is not going to teach us anything. It's those ups and downs that are going to teach us things. And if you're going to nurture, you need someone that needs nurturing. If you're going to heal, you need someone that needs healing. We all play our roles in this world in order to walk our path of experience and learning. So try not to be judgmental that the world isn't quite how it should be. It needs to be that way. And it is that way because we haven't learned yet, but we've got to learn by our mistakes. So no disappointment. We're all on a journey. Okay, try not to be unhappy about it. We're all still learning. You can't do the exam before the lesson is learned. So keep your perfectionistic nature in check as well. Keep the big picture in mind. Try not to get stuck on petty details that might not be quite right. Nothing is totally perfect. And again, what is perfect anyway? One person's perfect is another one's disaster. So you can often get lost in the petty detail, judging small imperfections to your perception of perfection. And you can forget the big picture. You cannot see your successes and the things that you've done that are positive, because you're focusing too much on what wasn't perfect. But again, remember, it's all learning. So it's looking at your successes, what went well, what to do again, but also learning from anything that went wrong, but not just focusing on what went wrong and getting stuck in those details and stopping moving forward because of it. Okay, it's important that we get out of that cycle. You're here to learn to be creatively artistic in some way, a love for beauty, aesthetics, fashion, makeup, colour, design, but also music. The sixth energy is very musical. In fact, creativity in its entirety is important for a 33-6 to develop, whether it's musical, whether it's acting, whether it's creative, whether it's colour, whether it's fashion, or whether it's expression, whether it's stage performance, communication, book writing, speaking. It's all a form of communication, and it's creative. But you might let low confidence stop you from fully exploring your creative artistry, which is a big thing for a master 33-6 to get around, especially if they're struggling to deal with unmanaged master energy, like I spoke about before, and low confidence, shyness, and struggling to express yourself. But you will get better. It's about learning your lessons and walking your path. So socially, 3s can struggle a bit socially at first, because they're here to learn to be that social centre of attention, to be comfortable expressing yourself in front of an audience, and speaking to people in a creative way, being that centre of attention and not being shy and retiring and moving away from the situation. So because you're here to do that, you could hide in the background a bit, fear being noticed, not want to be the centre of attention. And that would have been more so in childhood, or not wanting to be noticed, not wanting to speak in public, definitely, but even in social groups. And that may have developed over time, but it might have been a lot worse when you were young. Developing positive emotional expression, also very important, because the 3 energy is very emotional, but the double 3 is double emotional. So you can have huge highs of laughs and fun and positivity and exuberance, but then you've got also the pits of negativity and difficulty and, struggling with emotional expression. So negative emotional expression and positive emotional expression, and it can be up and down, and it's dealing with and balancing your emotional expression and using your emotions positively, expressing in a positive way. And you do that by understanding your emotions. But while you're walking that journey of learning and understanding your emotions, there's going to be positive and negative emotional outbursts that can, the negative ones can hurt or destroy, and the positive ones can bring great fun and celebration, but obviously you have to make sure you're not being irresponsible. But it's very much emotionally up and down, and the 33 is very much about learning to understand your emotions, but also learning to reconcile them, understand them, to understand your triggers and understand how your emotional reactions can affect others, and how to express your authentic emotions in a way that is going to inspire and inform and delight, rather than destroy and stamp into the ground. So it's very much a path of dealing with emotional outbursts, not beating yourself up, but learning from them and trying to be better next time, trying to use your tumultuous emotion to come out in your creativity rather than in upset or anger or negativity. You're here to develop excellent positive social skills. Remember, I said sometimes you can be a bit socially fearful and hold yourself back and not communicate. So you're here to have good social skills, to be a networker, talkative, fun, the life of the party, happy to be even the centre of attention, talking to a group, a team player, working alongside and with others. But again, because you're here to do that, you might struggle to do that. You might be avoidant of social situations, hide in the background, fear the attention, unable to find the social confidence to speak to anyone, let alone in a group, confidently. So it might start like that, but over time the confidence will be or should be improved. And it's working on that consciously that will help you to do that. You're here to develop balanced interconnection with others, maintaining your own independence, but also helping and being helped by others. Now, you have a tendency at times to either do too much or be dependent, and it can swing between the two. The 3 can be quite dependent, and the double 3 can be very dependent. And if they're feeling overwhelmed or low in confidence, they could be very dependent because they're not acting. They're having someone support them throughout their life because they're not acting or moving forward on anything. So there could be a huge element of dependence there. Or becoming independent and managing your energy and getting out there can be a difficult. So it's not just interconnection, it's becoming independent first, getting out there, maintaining your own independence so that you can not only be helped by others, but over time you can help others because it's you that's here to bring healing. So you might have that tendency towards dependence, especially at beginnings, avoidance of routine, overwhelm, anxiety, difficulties socially. You might hide away a little bit. Commitment to everyday tasks, even getting out the house could be a difficult thing for you. But remember, this is all part of your path, not something to beat yourself up about. It's something for you to work through as you go through life. You're here to be opportunistic, a networker, like the social skills thing, very linked to being able to be confident socially, making useful new connections. But again, your shyness, underconfidence, procrastination, not wanting to, or not feeling that your creativity is any good, so not showing anyone it, letting opportunities pass you by because you don't feel that you're good enough. You're here to, be able to push yourself forward confidently and act confidently. You're here to be compassionate, a caring nurturer to your family, community, those less fortunate, the vulnerable, anyone in your periphery or the world that needs your help, because the 33-6 is a very world-focused, world communicator kind of energy. But because you're here to be compassionate and caring, nurturing, to be that family community person that looks after those less fortunate, looks after the vulnerable, at the worst energy of the 6, there's potential for neglect, apathy, being uncaring towards others, even uncaring towards the vulnerable at times. Now, this isn't an evil person. This is just a person struggling with this aspect of their life purpose, and overwhelm and anxiety and all the other things I've mentioned could be a contributor to that. So again, not something, if you feel that you've been uncaring towards others at times, it's not something to beat yourself up for. It's something to learn from. You're here to be more nurturing, so work towards being more nurturing. Don't make it a stick to beat yourself with. You're here to build a stable and secure, peaceful home and family where everybody feels loved and valued and safe. So there's going to be difficulties building that home. Maybe family situations, maybe difficulty in bringing that stability and security and peace into the family situation. There could be potential issues which create unloving situations or even neglectful situations, and maybe there's a lot of fear in the home, or it's not quite stable, or something's not feeling stable and secure in your home and family life. It's just part of your path to improve that over time, and it will happen when you put your focus and positive energy into it. You're here to set and honour yours and others' boundaries, prevent you doing too much or having too much done for you, because you're also a service energy. You do things for others, but you can also be quite dependent, depending on where you are, if you're out there doing as a 33-6, you need boundaries so that you don't, do too much and exhaust yourself. And if you're on the struggling end of the 33, that you're honouring other people's boundaries and not expecting too much from people in your dependence. So boundaries, really important. You can do too much or you can do too little. And when you do too much, that's when there's exhaustion settling in, or, you're doing too much in other people's lives, even meddling in other people's lives and not focusing on your own and your own creativity, So the negative is doing too much, meddling in other people's lives too much, leading to exhaustion or loss of self. Or on the other side of the coin, being too overwhelmed to do anything at all. So you end up dependent and you end up stepping on other people's boundaries. So it depends on the context of the person's or contents of your situation, basically. So the Life Path Master 33-6 is supported by that 6. So there's going to be some repetition here. To be a visionary of the better world, to look towards that utopia, to always work towards being better, but not feeling judgmental if it's not quite there yet, because we're not there yet. We're working towards that vision. If we were already there, we wouldn't need to incarnate. So you're working towards making the world a better place, one step at a time. So you mustn't judge or be disappointed. We're still on that journey. You've got to learn to accept that the universe is as it is now. It's all existing in perfect light-dark balance for our learning and experience. If we want to learn about love, you've got to see what hate's all about. Otherwise, love won't mean anything to you. So it's about learning both sides of that coin. So a utopia teaches us nothing, but that doesn't mean we can't work towards being better, working towards that vision. It's just not about being judgmental or disappointed with yourself, others in the world, because again, we're just not there yet. And you don't want to be too perfectionistic, obsessing over little details that didn't go right, because it holds you back. It takes you away from the big picture and holds you in one place. So try not to be too perfectionistic, looking too deeply at the detail of the situation, and trying to keep the big picture in mind of what you're trying to achieve. Being responsible, like in the double three, being responsible. You're a master communicator with a lot of power, and there's going to be more vulnerable people around you, so it's very important that you're responsible with what you do, just like the double three. But you dislike, really, a 33 6 can dislike responsibility. They don't like having responsibility passed on to them, so they can sometimes dislike always having responsibility put their way. But others tend to pass that responsibility on to a 33 6, whether they like it or not. So it is something a 33 6 needs to learn. Be more responsible, take more responsibility for your actions, and try to be more responsible, so you don't have to take responsibility for anything that you may have done that was irresponsible. But again, it's part of your path of learning. And remember, just like in the double three, you're here to be artistic, create aesthetic beauty, verbally or creativity, depending on which creative medium you decide to communicate with the world in. You're a master communicator, and whether you're here to communicate with the world verbally, in written form, or artistically, you're here to communicate with the world to raise its vibration, to heal it in a big way, to nurture it, and help those that are vulnerable to be better too. You're here to be a nurturer, compassionate, caring, to have good social skills, deal with people well, learn to be loving, to create that stable, loving home for your family so that you feel safe and secure, to not judge others, to accept things as they are. As our journey of life, we're all learning lessons, but having healthy boundaries around what we do and what we take. So what we take from others, what we give to others, and having healthy boundaries so that we're not neglectful of others, so that we're not uncaring, so that we're not holding ourselves back socially, hiding in the background, being unloved or unloving, judgmental, or doing too much in other people's lives. There's a lot of difficulties that can happen, but you're working through them on your journey. Each one of these lessons that we're all here to learn. Now, I hope you've really enjoyed my video today. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe, and if you'd like a reading, please email me at katie@soulexplorer.net, or you might just have a question or a video request. Always happy to hear from you guys. But remember what I say to you, you've always got to follow your intuition. Your intuition comes first all the time. If something I've said gone against something you feel intuitively, always go with what your gut, your feelings, your emotions say, because it's your intuition will always serve you well. You're a master energy.